Content accessibility guidelines enable content design that is accessible to people who use assistive technologies, such as screen readers. Guideline 1.3.1 is about information and relationships. This requires us to look at information that is given visually and ensure that it is programmed in such a way that a screen reader can access the same information. Think about your average Word document. At the top of the page you can see that the font is larger and is bold. Why do you think that is? It is probably because that is the title. The same thing might happen throughout the document to indicate headings and subheadings. You need to understand that a screen reader does not read formatting. It reads programmed information. In order to give the screen reader information about headings, you must use styles to correctly tag each heading and other visual information. This video will show you how to set up a design, save your preferred colours and fonts, and then use and modify the styles throughout your document.
This video will show you how to set up designs in Microsoft Word. Let's open Word. And we'll open a blank document. We've opened a blank document and now we want to make our own design. I'm going to set up a template for HMPPS using HMPPS colours and fonts. First of all, go to the Design menu along the top. And about 3/4 of the way along we have colours and fonts. I'm going to click on the drop-down arrow for colours and go down to Customise Colours. I'm going to leave dark 1 and light 1 as black and white, but all of the other colours I'm going to change. So dark 2, I'm going to use the HMPPS purple. So click on the drop-down arrow and go to More Colours. Check that the Custom tab is live and double click on the numbers. The colour code for purple is 7F4098 and you can click OK. You can see that that has now changed to the HMPPS purple. For accent 1 I will use the same colour, so I'm going to click on the drop down arrow and go to More Colours. I'm going to put in the same code, 7F4098. For accent 2 I'm going to use a lighter colour of purple. The code for this is 985DA1. You can see that's just a slightly lighter colour of purple than the main one. For accent 3 I'm going to use the blue, and the colour code for that is 0079AD. Accent 4 I'm going to use a paler blue, and the colour code for that is 48A6DD. For accent 5 I'm going to use green. The colour code is 158479. Accent 6 is a lighter green, and the code for that is 62BEB1. For hyperlink I'm going to use the dark blue, which was 0079AD, and for followed hyperlink I'm going to use the green, which was 158479. Okay, I'm now going to name this style and I'm going to call it HMPPS, and I'll save. As I saved, you may have noticed that the colours along the top changed to reflect the new colours that I've put in. and now that colour template is there. So whenever I open a new Word document, or if I want to change an existing document, I can just go into the design menu and change the colours to HMPPS. Now let's do the same for fonts. So I'm going to open the drop-down arrow and go down to Customise Fonts. This is less complicated. HMPPS use Arial for everything. Again, I'm going to give it a name, HMPPS, and save. And now that font style is in here. And that's how you set up the design. Next, we will look at how to use styles to mark the structure of a document. I've prepared a Word document, and you can see that there are some elements of this document that are formatted differently. So for example, this section here is in a larger font and is bold. So how to structure a Word document is actually the title of my document. So all I need to do is go along here. If it's not visible, you can open the full menu and select Title. Design and styles I've made a little bit smaller, and they are a heading. They are the first level of heading. You should always start with heading 1. Don't skip heading 1. So again, I'm just going to click on heading 1, and the same for styles. The next two headings are a little bit smaller, so I'm going to click on heading 2. You can't jump, so don't skip to heading 3 without using a heading 2. They must be nested correctly. So you have a title, then heading 1. Within heading 1 you can have heading 2. Within heading 2 you can have heading 3. What happens if these are not formatted the way I want them to be? Well, the first thing I could do is change the design. So I could click on the design menu and try a different design. Aim to find the one that is closest to what you want your document to look like. I'm going to go with that one. Then I'm going back to my home menu. So the title, I don't really want it to be that big. But rather than change it over here in the fonts area of the ribbon, I'm going to change it using the styles menu. In the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to click on this little tiny arrow, and that will bring out the styles pop-up. I can see that title is highlighted, and I'm going to click on the button which is an A with a green tick. It's called Manage Styles. Then I'm going to modify my style. I like the purple, but I don't want size 26. I want size 20. And I want it to be bold. I'm going to tick this box that says automatically update, so that if I use a title again later in the document, it will be the same. I also want to check my paragraph settings. So I'm going to go into Format and Paragraph, and I'm going to make my title single line format, and I want it to have 18 points after the title. I'm going to click OK, OK, OK. And now you can see that my title is formatted the way I wanted it to be. Okay, next I'm going to look at heading 1. I don't want that to be in capitals, and I want it to be a bit bigger. So again, I'm going to look over here, heading 1. If I'd accidentally closed that, I can open it again from here. Heading 1 is highlighted. I'm going to manage that. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to change it to 18 and bold. In order to stop it being capitalised, I'm going to go into Format Font and untick the box that says All Caps. OK. I'm also going to go into my paragraph settings. Again, I want these to be single with no spacing before and 18 after. Click OK and OK. Now that makes quite a large gap here, but you can see if I click in the gap that I've actually got a line break, so I'm going to remove the line breaks. I'm going to remove the line break here as well. So now my heading 1 is set up the way I want it to be. Heading 2, I'm also going to edit. So again, I'm going to click on Manage Styles. I'm going to modify that. First of all, I'm going to change the font size to 14 and make it bold. I'm going to click Automatically Update because I want it to apply to all heading 2s. Modify the font and untick all caps. Modify the paragraph. I'm going to make this match the other ones. And then click OK. So now I'm happy with my headings, but I want to now edit the font slightly for the normal text. And you can see we have this normal. This doesn't update automatically in the same way that the headings did, because you might not want things like bold phrases and italics and so on to be modified. But I'm going to make some changes here. So I want my main font to be size 12. I don't want it to be bold this time. It's better to use automatic than choose black. And you'll notice that that automatically update isn't available for this. So first of all, I'm going to go into my paragraph settings. I'm going to take out the spacing before and again make it 18 afterwards, and I want it to be 1.5 between lines. So now, each time I click on normal, you can see I've got a line space in there again. When I click on normal, that will space it the way I've asked it to. So it's better to set this up before you start typing a lot, because for the paragraphing you're going to have to do a lot of clicking otherwise. So it's better to set this up at the beginning and then work with it throughout your document. So now when a screen reader reads this, it will read that this is a title, heading level 1, heading level 1, heading level 2 and heading level 2.